It's the Monday Morning Show. Today is February 20th, 2020. 2020. And I'm Ken LaSalle, starving author with plenty of books to sell. And you can find those books, audiobooks, paperbacks, and so forth on Amazon, iTunes, and around the web. Things in the studio are really moving these days. Not only did I just complete the script for Maxed Edge and The Murder Beyond Time, more about that on my YouTube channel if you haven't already seen it, I'll be starting book 2 of the Breakthrough series, the sequel to Maxed Edge in the Time of the Uniborg, in just about a week. For now, though, let's get back to our home in Washington, D.C. Sherry Finn was walking this past week, walking down some old streets and neighborhoods, passing by some old houses in Capitol Heights, over in Maryland. Sherry was out walking because she had several days off in a row this past week, and you know how that gets when you have several days off in a row, and it's not a weekend, and it's not a holiday, and you begin to wonder to yourself, what happened to the work? Do they still need me? Because they seemed to be doing just fine when you left. They encouraged you and they sent you on your way home, all of them looking like just about the most cohesive group of employees you'd ever seen. Why, they could probably do anything, those guys. And you're living in a 10-foot by 20-foot storage unit with 3 other people. And it would be hell with only one other person. Somebody tells you that you're going to have to start living in a storage box with your nephew and some old deranged guy who always seemed to belong to the family, and no pressure, but they're all dead, by the way. I'm just saying that you don't want to hear about how there's a third person who you don't know or know anything about, aside from the volume of that moaning sound she makes when she farts, and that she really likes mushroom soup. Actually, the two might be related. The point is, Sherry had to get out. She just had to. She had yet to spend the night outside of the storage unit alone. But, it was Valentine's Day. And you can tell yourself you're going to have to be alone for a while. You can knuckle down and focus on improving your life. But when Valentine's Day comes around, it's still just a steaming pile of unsold greeting cards. So, she got an Airbnb across from Watts Branch Playground and spent most of an afternoon watching it, thinking of her sister. The sister she had lost. Whenever she thought of her sister, the girl's name pushed against the edge of her throat, just up at the top of her chest. And it stuck there. It hurt. Sherry couldn't bear to even think her sister's name. Shot down, dead, in Las Vegas. No justice came out of the terrible event. Nothing was changed. Shootings just kept on happening. And when the sun went down, Sherry sat on the porch of the Airbnb. Sure, it turned out to be little more than a garage, but the pictures looked really nice. She sat out in front of that garage, tried to ignore the smell of oil coming from somewhere south of her bed for the night. And I probably don't need to tell you that after spending a day dwelling on the loss of her sister, Sherry stayed up most of the night, crying over the loss of her home, her business, her dignity. You don't notice dignity when it's gone. Or I should say, you don't realize when it's gone. Everyone else does. That's why they look at you that way. Because they can see you're a mess. Why can't you? Sherry drank the most regrettable bottle of spearmint schnapps that night, and remembered her bar and her home. She remembered how she lost them. No justice, though. Everything was simply taken from her. That's all. You know, it's difficult after a certain age to roll with every punch. Eventually they land. And they land mostly on the lesser privileged, the elderly, the babies, the women, the non-white. Sherry's only a few of those things, but it has taken her everything she has simply to send her nephew off to school without crying. Because she doesn't know how long this job at WGNO is going to last. And it's not even that good to begin with. It's part-time, so there's no benefits, and she's only paid minimum wage. And before you judge, she didn't pay for this night in Capitol Heights either. She was cashing in a gift card old Herbert had given her for Christmas. And at $39 a night, this garage was looking pretty good. It was certainly the best vacation Sherry had enjoyed all year. She thought about this statistic Sean had told her before she left, which was that Trump has played so much golf since he's taken office that the golf alone accounts for $130 million squandered for the orangutan chief's pleasure. Hell, Sherry has more genuine problems than Trump, and she's a fictional character. But when the Airbnb was over, checkout was promptly at 11 a.m., and after Sherry had enjoyed a long, luxurious 10-minute shower and changed into the other clothes she had in her backpack, Sherry threw the backpack over her shoulder and just started walking. You see, Sherry's from around here. Capitol Heights isn't the kind of town you expect homeless people to come from. But it's not very different from many towns, not too different from my own, which is Santa Ana, California. Middle-class, single-family homes with wide yards, or yards full of crap that the next owner who buys the house after the foreclosure will have to deal with. Churches with steeples, fences holding back ferocious terriers, or, in the case of Santa Ana, chihuahuas. Sherry wasn't heading home, not right away. Sherry grew up on these streets, and it was her intention to walk them once again just as she did so many years ago, to remember the way she and her sister would play, how they would fight about gossip on the way to school, or fight about, anything. Fighting is easy for some kids. I may have given Sherry the idea to walk the streets of her old town. I probably told her about that itch that I've been having to stroll the streets of my own youth. I hope it did her as much good as it did me. I've been feeling down lately, a little depressed. And I know what it is. I know it's the state of our nation. I know it's Trump and the disgrace he has brought to us all, that he brings with every new day, and the way he keeps stealing money from us, and the way he keeps twisting our government into this insane asylum for meathead thugs with delusions of grandeur, and the way we have to keep watching half the nation bow to these thugs and coddle these thugs and praise these thugs for so destroying the land they claim to love. We're taught as children words like patriotism and loyalty, and we're told to love our country. So, okay, I bought into it. I listened to Barack Obama talk about following the better angels of our nature. And I watched Jimmy Carter build homes long after other presidents retired to the riches we lavish upon them. I was inspired by people who cared for others, and I believed in an America that could shine a light upon the world, did shine a light upon the world on about, well, at least 3 occasions. And you might not say that's a lot, but listen, 3 occasions is pretty damn good these days. What I wouldn't give for a United States of America that could find the courage, the moral certitude, the spine, the bravery, the dignity to do the right thing 3 times, maybe? But there's no justice, is there? I'm asking you. This week, when Moses Trump let his people go, when he lightened the oppressive burden on white-collar criminals, when he spilled more swamp into an ever-deepening mire, it didn't look like there was any justice then. What about that? See, that's why I think it's important to get back to those old streets. And I think maybe it's why Sherry did too. Because you see things back there that you forgot you missed. Walking down those old streets, I remembered people I'd completely forgotten. I noticed the streets were smaller, but in some cases, everything looked the same, exactly the same. Or at least that's what my old and ever-feebling mind was telling me. Was I right? I don't care. Walking on those streets reminded me that I had survived rough times before when hope was a precious commodity. Walking those streets reminded me that life is long and change comes fast. Walking those streets reminded me that there is goodness out there. Even if right now it does feel dusted with a thick layer of orange, toxic base makeup. I felt out of the moment for just a little bit. Out of this moment right now. Out of this national nightmare that does not appear to be heading anywhere good. What does Trump expect? That everyone is going to roll over? And somehow, after he and his ever-growing army of cronies and maggots really make a disaster movie of what was once America, do his supporters really believe him capable of holding it together? With his will of iron tweets? Of course he won't. This will all come crashing down in a violent and unpredictable way. By which I mean ugly and painful, probably for the poor and unfortunate alone. But not Trump. My money is on him boarding a chopper for Moscow at some point, praying for extradition treaties that are just as loose as a Republican's ethics. But I don't want you to think that means there isn't any justice. I really don't. Because I actually believe, somehow, I don't know how, that there is a kind of justice. No matter how wealthy Trump may be, he'll never know true friendship or trust or love. No matter how powerful Putin or McConnell may be, they will forever be loathed by people of intellect and understanding. They are universally reviled, and I don't think this escapes them. Not completely. This road doesn't lead to a happy ending. Probably not for a lot of us. But there will be an ending. And this will pass. And children will play again at the Watts Branch playground. And they will walk down my old streets by Valley High School. And they will be free. Let's just hope it's soon. Washington, D.C. has its hands in all our homes. Welcome to D.C. Home. Until next time, be good to yourself, be kind to others, and let's make this world a better place.